Oh, you know what we should have talked about?
The Detective Pikachu trailer.
Why? Hey, welcome to episode 93 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm
Hey, Nick.
Nick. What? What? How dare you, Blake? Hi, Blake. How's it going?
Hey, good man. Good.
Okay, go. Saveun?
Are we going to redo this?
No, we're sticking with. Do you want to? We can.
No.
Okay, great. I'm your host, Nick. I'm here with Saveun and Blake.
Hey,
Blake the Ruiner. That's your new nickname.
thanks.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah, it's good.
Good. Great.
It's
Perfect.
good.
Off to a roaring start here.
We just cut our Fallout conversation.
Yeah.
short.
So why don't we jump back to that? So I mean, have you guys been playing anything interesting? I know Blake's been playing Red Dead.
I've been playing the story.
Yeah.
Red
Right.
Dead story.
So
Yeah, we've only been playing Red Dead. I don't have any other games to talk about.
right, yeah, we'll
Red
talk about
Dead.
that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we were talking about. I decided to cut off the conversation because we're talking about Fallout. So let's get back on that. So
Yeah.
Fallout 76. People, I've seen mixed opinions. I've seen a lot of dissatisfaction, but I've also seen people saying, for what it is, it's really good. And I think it's like an issue of expectations and like extra polish time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought when they announced this, I was like, oh, they're making like an Ark game. They're making a survival Ark game.
Yeah.
With no story. It's just an open world, and you basically make your own fun, and you fight other humans.
Sure.
And you build buildings. It sounded almost exactly like Ark.
Right.
But it seems slightly different than that. Like I heard that their PvP is real weird. Have you heard about
No.
this?
So explain.
So in order to initiate, you can't just shoot someone
Okay.
and kill them.
Right.
You have to initiate a PvP battle by shooting them, and then they accept by shooting you back. And then the damage is scaled so far down that like damage from another player
Right.
is scaled so far down that just one-on-one fights can take like half an hour. And then you can
Okay.
just take a healing item and then heal yourself back up to full, so it becomes
All
like
right.
almost nothing.
Right.
And one guy I was watching said that the best way he found to kill people was invite them up onto his platform that he built, and then because he has control of the building like tools, he deletes
Just
the floor
remove
from
the
underneath
platform?
them, and they fall
Wow.
to their death.
But does he get kill credit for that?
I don't think he does, but he can loot them,
Okay.
so that's good. Yeah.
And also the satisfaction.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But without that like Ark style PvP, I thought where like anyone could be stalking you, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
It
the
kinda
fact that you
takes
have
a lot
to
of the fun out of it.
mutually engage is a bit weird.
I was watching a video where like this guy came across someone who was crafting on a bench, and he just started shooting at them. And because the guy was ignoring them and not shooting back and not initiating the PvP battle, it's just nothing.
Completely
Yeah, it's
inconsequential.
completely
You
normal.
just
Yeah.
stand there shooting at a guy,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
nothing. Wow. Okay.
What would you want to happen in that situation?
I want that guy.
Got to die at the bench,
Yeah, yeah.
even though he's engaged in this other thing.
Too bad. He shouldn't have been doing it out in the open. He should
Yeah.
have built him. It should be like Ark. You can't just be on a bench in the middle of the forest in Ark without like something coming to get you. Like you got the dinosaurs already to like worry about. So you want to build a base, a compound to like protect yourself while you're crafting
yeah.
stuff. Like
Yeah,
I thought
that
that's
seems
what
much
it
more
was going to
reasonable.
be. Yeah.
And that seems much more like immersive.
Yeah.
You don't. There should be repercussions, and you should have to consider your choices about where you build and where you craft, and like consider your location and safety at any given time. It's a
Yeah.
survival game.
But
So
here,
like part of that is surviving other players. So yeah, if I mean I haven't heard anything about that system, but if that's the way it works, that's real silly.
it's real bizarre. I don't even know why they'd even think to put that
Is
in.
it a feature of the specific server? Like,
I don't
are
think
there
so because I
PvP
thought they were only. I don't know. Maybe
Because that sounds like is like World of Warcraft
PvE kind of
PvP, where
yeah.
on a PvE server, where
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, you can PvP, but you have to opt in.
Yeah, maybe that is the way it was. But
But then even then,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
that's not the kind of game it should be.
mm,
At least in my opinion, it should be a case of if you're playing a survival game, take
Yeah.
into account dangers like
Yeah.
players.
and that's another thing is that it's supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be a survival game, and it seems like it is trying to be a survival game.
Yeah.
But people seem to go in there expecting it to be like basically the next Fallout,
like Fallout 5 or whatever.
Fallout like 4.5 kind of
Right.
thing, and they're just like, oh, the quests are boring. There's nothing to do, and I'm like, there's nothing to do in Ark as
Yeah.
well. There's no quests in Ark.
It's all emergent.
Yeah, it's
gameplay.
all emergent
Yeah.
stories and stuff, and that's I think what they're trying to do in Fallout, but people don't want that. Maybe it's because previous Fallout games have been completely story driven and quest driven,
Yeah.
and you go into it
'Cause they're
expecting it to be
RPGs.
like that. Yeah. So you and it does have some missions, and maybe
that's
they
blurring
should
the
just
line a little
not
bit.
have any missions. Yeah.
Mhm. They're trying to do Fallout plus survival as opposed to
Mm. And they're making both. Like it's
a watered down version of
yeah,
both.
it's by making a
potentially.
watered down version
Yeah.
of both. Yeah.
Now, before we hit the start button on the podcast, you started saying something about the game engine.
I just try to describe the game engine.
Yeah.
Because like all I've been seeing online is just like massive videos of bugs. Like just it's got to be the buggiest Bethesda game ever.
Like
that is-
game-breaking bugs, right?
That is saying
What?
something.
Game breaking.
I saw a couple game breaking bugs where someone just got stuck in the ground and like couldn't move.
Yes.
And Bethesda games are like notoriously buggy.
Yeah.
I remember Skyrim, like very early on, watching mammoths go hurling into
Yeah.
the clouds because giants had crazy physics and whatnot.
Yeah. But those Skyrim is a like completely smooth,
Yeah,
stable game
makes
compared
it
to
look
this.
buttery,
Like,
right?
Yeah, but like I was trying to describe this engine because it's the same. And they talked about it being the same engine from Morrowind.
Yep.
And
Are they bragging?
they were bragging about it, and I was like, man, I don't know if you guys should brag about that. Like it's heavily. I mean, of course, it's like heavily, like updated and stuff.
No, it's the
but-
same, exactly the same.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some behind the scenes stuff where like the developers were talking about working on it, being like, wow, there's still like stuff in here that was like designed for Morrowind and whatever. But like, I think that game engine, I was trying to describe it as the scene in Back to the Future 3 where the train is pushing the DeLorean on the tracks and the dock has these special like fuel things that increase the pressure in the engine.
Mhm.
And every time one hits, like bolts go flying off it, like the boiler is like just
Starts shaking.
shaking, and the whole thing is just like rattling around.
Yeah.
And I imagine that every game that Bethesda is putting out is just increasing the pressure on that engine. There's like bolts and gauges just like flying all over the
Yeah.
place. Like
This is GIF worthy, then.
Yeah.
I can imagine it.
yeah,
So the reason I wanted you to bring this back up is because we were talking a few weeks ago about Bethesda games and how I wanted Saveun to play just a good Bethesda game. Like specifically, we were talking about Elder Scrolls 6, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're usually on the cutting edge of tech and all. And then I heard that they're going to use the same engine for Elder Scrolls 6.
I just don't.
So, Saveun, I take it back. maybe we'll wait and see how that one goes. Let's play it by ear on that one.
It's really saddening for me to hear that you wouldn't revise your engine and
Well,
you know.
they do revise it, but it's like the question is like how many improvements can you make to an old piece of tech like that? We're in a similar situation where we're using an engine that was built in 2006, or at least was begun in 2006. And we are still using it and making improvements, and like obviously it's much better than it used to be. And there are advantages to improving this tech rather than starting from scratch. But then there are advantages to starting from scratch as well. So,
I think there's sort of less going on in our game in a way,
yes,
because like
there is
a lot of Bethesda bugs are physics based,
yes,
and we don't have the kind of physics that Bethesda has.
yeah. They're a true 3D game,
Mm.
whereas ours is sort of like pseudo 3D in a lot of ways. So, yeah,
Like you were saying, the mammoths flying through the air because of the physics on the giants' attack.
Mhm.
Like we do not have bugs in our game where a monster attacks and your character is just
Yeah.
off the screen.
we don't use ragdoll physics.
Man,
Yeah.
I'd love ragdoll though. I don't know what that means, but man, I'd love it.
Yeah.
There are technical limitations that like ragdoll would not work in our engine. Like for example, if you can move a corpse because of ragdoll physics, you can't really do corpse skills anymore. So,
but then isn't that another thing you want to consider before using it or building your build that way?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean it's from a technical standpoint. An enemy's corpse is on the server in one location, but physics is all I think entirely client side. So where the corpse is on your client is not where the corpse will be on the server potentially. So having that distinction is going to be problematic no matter what.
But I mean,
we just wouldn't be able to do corpse skills.
It just depends on how we would implement it, right? Like
If we implemented it so that corpse is like synced up with the server,
yeah,
on client and server,
but you
like
could
all
have,
that physics.
I mean, you could have physics on like environment stuff that we don't have.
Totally.
You know? Like
Yeah.
you bust a barrel, and
Yeah.
pieces can go flying all over the place.
Yeah, again, client side stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yep,
I mean,
this
there's
is true.
no barrel skills that are
Not-
relying on
not
where the
yet.
barrel
Who
is on the
knows what the
server.
future holds? We might suddenly want like
Summon
a suite
barrels.
of
yeah, summon barrels.
yeah. we might want the Donkey Kong build to
Yep.
to be a thing. Who knows? So but physics locks you out of certain gameplay things, or at least puts strain on certain gameplay things. So it always is a consideration.
I mean, we do have some physics stuff, right? Like capes.
Yep, capes.
Yeah, no, and they're pretty
Yep.
cool.
I like Rocket League's physics implementation. That's kind of cool.
I mean, that game's all about physics, though, right?
But it's not even correct physics. It's just you hit a ball with this much force, it's going to travel kind of like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's consistent within its own universe, I
Yeah.
guess.
I remember I really liked the corpse physics in
Dark Souls
1, because like it was so bad that it would like get tangled up in your feet, and you'd just be walking for like several meters with a corpse just tangled around your feet.
Yeah.
I mean, Oblivion also had some of that. Like you could close doors and corpse would get halfway caught through the door,
Oh shit!
and then you would open the door and it would just freak out and there'd be legs and arms twitching
Yeah.
everywhere. In
And
fact,
you can still see that in Fallout.
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
There was a video I watched where some guy was just looking at a trash can just spinning around in the air and bouncing all over a room, and like
I gotta start looking at some of this stuff because this sounds fun.
yeah.
Bethesda bugs are some of the most fun parts of those games in a lot of ways. Not intentionally, but like they're goofy as hell. So we've got some things to talk about. There's one thing in particular I wanted to talk about, which is Path of Exile Betrayal, which is coming out in a couple weeks. I think as of today, as of today's recording anyway, 2 weeks away. We announced it. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
What are you guys doing on it?
I made some mushrooms in a cave.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
That's exactly what I did for Delve as well. Was make some mushrooms in a cave.
So let's talk about like the difference. So you worked on the Fungal Caverns tile set for Delve.
Yeah.
Which is just I love the way that area looks, and I know that like most of it is like the old cave tile set.
Yeah.
With
New
mushrooms.
new textures over it with some like new shader stuff over it as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's using like our updated shader stuff.
Okay, so
it's real. That's basically it. Like
you just slap some mushrooms on there as well.
yeah, just made some mushrooms, made them look as gross and like as possible. Because its idea, right, is that it's like it's like the worst, most disgusting side of nature, right?
So,
is these
you say that,
disgusting
but-
like mushrooms.
I couldn't disagree more. I
Yeah?
think mushrooms are fascinating, and I don't think they're gross at all.
Well, I did so I did that for Dell, but then in this next league, I did a version of that cave that was like the happier sort of mushrooms, like, and they were like nice little like little toadstools and like nice little like glowing things, and it looked all green and like moss covered and stuff, and it had like
Moss covered mushrooms? Wait.
no, moss covered like
Earthy terrain.
earth and walls and stuff, and it's got like sunbeams like coming in from the
seen the
thing.
sunbeams,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's cool. I like it. It's
Yeah, Yeah, it's looking cool.
It was fun.
And so that's one of the new maps that I think we showed a little bit off in one of the trailers. So you've been working on that.
Yeah.
And you've been working on some other stuff that we can't talk about yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we will in the future. Saveun.
Yo,
Has anything you've been working on shown up?
I don't
in
think so.
trailers?
Maybe. I do a lot of background stuff right now.
Yes, you're very much like behind the scenes techie stuff, right?
Sometimes. Yeah. I kind of want to see these mushrooms, though.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
They're in the trailer.
They are.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I have been working on dialogue
Yeah.
pretty much non-stop since it was decided that this is what this expansion would be. So I don't know how much I can say, but it's been a lot of writing and directing. I've been directing actors.
What's that like? What's that been like?
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a little more used to it, but it's knowing how to communicate an idea, because actors, there are certain like unspoken rules, and I guess also sometimes spoken rules.
Yeah.
About like how to direct. You don't like give a line read, and what I mean by that is you don't be like, no, say it like this.
Yeah.
So, but it's very tempting.
Did somebody tell you about that then? Or did you have a point where you were like, no, say it like this, and someone was like, Nick, can I just talk to you over here for a minute?
I don't think that but I remember. So I my first dabbling with directing was with Einhar.
Yeah.
And that was pretty straightforward because the actor who's doing Einhar is very professional, very experienced, and it was pretty much a breeze. He knew what he was doing from get-go. But then we had Alva, and I think that was one of her first ever gigs. So there was a little bit of time to get her into that character and sort of smooth out some of those lines. And I remember unintentionally basically giving her a line read very early on, which I'm not so bad because it's like her first gig, so she's probably not so precious about it.
Yeah.
But I could see the other people in the room kind of go, ooh. But I've gotten better at like, you have to be like, no, so think of it like you're in a hallway and you have to like describe a situation. And oftentimes the situation you have to describe is not at all the game situation to get the result you want, because they don't know the game. They don't know the game situation. It's like saying you're about to attack someone isn't going to be helpful necessarily. I mean, that one might be. But hopefully we'll be able to talk about this more at length.
Yep.
In a couple of weeks or a little more.
Do you have a favorite line that you wrote?
That
you can say, or
not? I don't think I can say anything yet. I would rather let people discover it. There are a lot of lines that I'm pretty proud of in this, because there are a lot of lines, and there's some of them that I still laugh about because I can't believe they got recorded.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. What did you do?
It's nothing. It's just like some silly jokes that made me laugh, and then like I'm thinking, Eric will read this and knock it down, and he doesn't knock it down.
Nice.
Like, well, then we'll get into the booth and it'll sound wrong, and it doesn't sound wrong, and then I'm like, well, then the audio guys will hear it and go like, yeah, we can't use this, but then they hear it and it's fine. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna go in game. So I'm excited to.
So some wacky voice acting coming.
Just
for the next...
some goofy ass lines, some goofy jokes. There's some very interesting characters. I think there's one in particular that I don't think it's an archetype I don't think players are expecting at all. And it doesn't talk like a normal character.
Hey Nick, are you tempted to get yourself in here and do some voice acting?
Yeah. Oh
Have you
yeah, that's
ever
the one
thought
he's describing. No,
Yeah.
It doesn't talk like a normal human.
Real talk. There was like a time in high school I was like, yeah, I totally want to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
And I think every kid's probably had that.
After watching The Simpsons?
Yeah, or Futurama or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this is like what a dream job. You just make goofy voices. But then you see the professionals doing it, and they're like real good, and they can do accents, and they can like, and it's just there's like a lot more to it than you'd think, and it looks quite exhausting, because you don't realize it, but they go into this like almost airtight room full of padding, so it gets like real hot in there, and then they just talk for like an hour and a half, and someone's barking orders at them and saying, no, put the emphasis on this word. And I'm like, okay, sure. And they'd say the same thing. Like, they might say the same line 20 times. And that just sounds like a bummer to me.
Yeah. Because you know that thing of like when you say a word over and over and then it just seems to lose all meaning?
Semantic satiation is the term.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like when you say, the word I always use is the word your.
Yeah.
For like, if you're pointing, that's yours. If you just say your over and over and over again, it just loses all meaning. But yeah, that happens. And, and as someone,
if that happens to like, if you can feel that that's happening to a voice actor, do you just move on to another line for a while?
We haven't had to yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, as someone who's on the other, like in the room next door to the booth, like I'm listening to all these lines and I start hearing, like you do hit a point where it's just like,
I can't tell.
It's just, yeah. Is this good? I don't know.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go, I'm going to put faith in like that we've got, well, at least of the 20 takes or whatever, that we've got something usable and just move on. Because there's like time limitations. You're working with an actual human who gets tired and sweaty, and you know they have to be careful with their voice because you know this might not be their only job. But even if it is their only job, they need to be able to last the full session. So it's just a lot of things to take into consideration.
So you start off with the most strenuous screaming ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
yeah. You start off with coughing and choking, and then but you do at the end of the session we do record you coughing and choking, all these things that like really mess with your voice. It's been an interesting experience, and I've been out of the office a lot lately because we've had 23 or 24 different voice sessions each anywhere between like 2 and 5 hours. So it's been like a lot of time not in the office doing my normal work. It's been interesting. Anyway,
how does that feel?
Weird, because I get back in the office and I'm like, I feel like I'm behind the curve here. I don't know what's what, but it's like going on vacation broken up into a bunch of little chunks.
Vacation that you're working.
Yeah,
like
and exactly. It's a vacation where you get to the office and you're still tired.
Yeah,
and in fact, and look, I'm more or less introverted, and so. When you're doing directing, it's a lot of social interaction and like being cognizant of who you're talking to and how you're speaking to people and being very cognizant of like not stepping on toes and all this other stuff. And so it's exhausting for me. And I get to the office and we might have a double session, so back-to-back actors or whatever. And I get to the office and I'm just pooped.
Do you get, when that happens, do you just not want to talk to people for a while?
Yes, absolutely. And
like you need to recharge your like social points or something?
Yeah. I need to like what I want to do is just go home, close the blinds, put on something dumb to watch and like zone out for a while. But you know, I get to the office and people have to ask me a bunch of questions about scripts or whatever it is, and they'll, you know, so I still have to deal with people, but I'm just like over it. I'm like I just want to go home. But I still gotta write another script for tomorrow or whatever it is. So this is just the work just hadn't stopped. Just endless deadlines this patch. Oh my goodness. Anyway,
man, it's great. It's been good on the environment side. It's been pretty chill because we've got like a new environment artist, so we've really like split the work up into like actually manageable chunks.
Wait, I didn't know this. I've got to offload some of my stuff.
Oh yeah, man, just send it over.
There's way too much work on this side.
So Saveun, you've been managing people for a little while, like
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's been sort of part of your job for at least a few years.
Yeah, kind of.
And was that like a weird adjustment for you?
Nah, man.
No, you just sort of slipped into it fairly naturally?
I used to do management, like out of high school.
Yeah, you used to do it at McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like fairly natural.
Yeah.
But Blake, you've just sort of started managing someone.
Yeah, I got one new person to manage.
Yeah. How's that been for you?
It was kind of sort of stressful at the start because like I've only ever had to worry about my work, and now I have to worry about another person's work as well.
Yeah.
And I definitely get that feeling of like if they make a mistake, it's my mistake kind of thing.
Right.
But it's been almost 3 months, and I think we're pretty good. It's fine.
Yeah, because I find myself now in a similar situation. We've hired a new writer, Matt from the U.S. Side note: he is the all-time top post on a fairly popular Reddit called No Sleep.
Oh wow, yeah.
So he's like, yeah.
Isn't that a spooky?
Yeah, he's a horror fiction writer.
Oh wow, cool.
And so he's been helping with these.
Did
scripts.
he make Slender Man?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I don't. I highly doubt
Isn't
it.
that where Slender Man came from? Like
No,
a Reddit
I'm
post
pretty
or something?
sure Slenderman originated in a something awful
Oh,
Photoshop
okay,
competition.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know that. Anyway, but so he's new and he's been sort of settling in, and he's been helping with scripts, and it's been weird, sort of being the go-to person for that. So yeah, weird. It's weird, man. So let's talk about Red Dead then, because I think we've milked the betrayal cow as much as we can currently. There's lots and lots of stuff we'll be able to talk about.
Yeah.
Once it's out, I'm sure, but at least for now. You guys have been playing a lot of Red Dead.
Yep.
You've both worked on environments in various. I mean, Blake, you obviously are an environment artist. Saveun, you used to do some environment stuff.
I still do.
You still, yeah. I mean, you do a lot of the. Do you do like from ground up, or is it mostly like?
I do a lot of like I'm everywhere, well, art wise. I think.
I'm all seeing.
I like to dabble.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, you're all over the 3D stuff across the board, right?
Yeah. Most recently, as in like, I don't know, a couple months back, I started putting some attention towards effects as well. So that's fun.
Ooh, interesting. That's cool.
There's some cool stuff. I feel like a teacher nowadays,
Mm.
which is kind of cool.
Is that in the cards for you in the future? Do you reckon?
It depends on how the pay is.
Head to media design school.
Probably not good
Yeah, I've heard stories.
because it's a teacher.
I've heard stories of more Auckland or New Zealand tutors, 3D tutors. Anyway,
You could do like a guest lecture at like media design
You
school or
reckon?
something. Yeah. Just get paid for one thing and be like, yep, that's.
And then you can ask the people refer to you as professor from that point on.
Yep.
Once you've done the one lecture,
Professor Man.
Professor Saveun,
Okay.
Professor Man. Yeah. Hey, Professor Man. But you guys have been playing Red Dead, and that game. I mean, look, there's a lot of cool, realistic looking stuff in there, but the environments I think are like the standout star, right? How does that make you feel? Do you feel deeply inadequate, or are you like, I could do better than that, or like, how do you feel?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I honestly, when I see environments in games that I like, I just like put it in my memory banks to be like, I'll like and use it as like reference or something in our game. Like,
Okay. Because
I never. Sometimes not for Red Dead, but for other games, I've definitely been like, I could do this better. I could do
yes,
this.
I remember
But
you were
then-
talking about. I think it was like Lord of the Rings or something. You were looking at like fort walls. You know, like looking at how the walls join up.
Oh yeah,
And you were like,
man,
this
that
is
pissed
sloppy."
me off. Yeah. It was the way they had. It was in Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
and it was the way they had like bricks that like the texture would go up to the corner of the wall and then like be clearly not like in line with the texture on the other side of the wall. So it was just like
Right.
it was.
Just
I
like
hate.
sloppy.
I hated that. I hate that. I really try to avoid that when I work on stuff,
Right.
or at least hide it in some way. Like, yeah, it that just bugs me.
Right.
Have you been to Saint Denis in
Yeah,
Red Dead?
yeah.
What do you think of that place?
I thought it was real nice.
Are you surprised at the amount of parallax occlusion mapping they're using in that game?
No man,
Do
I
you
don't
know what that is?
Let's
Yeah.
talk about what is parallax
Holy
occlusion
shit.
mapping.
It's the thing you can kind of see depth in a thing. It's like a height map.
Okay.
But yeah, you can actually kind of displace within the texture. It's kind of like tessellation, but without adding geometry.
Can you give me an example of where I might have
Crysis
seen
used it on pebbles and rocks and stuff. So in
Okay.
in Red Dead, they use it on the cobblestone streets, on the brick
Mm.
walls, on roof tiles. It's everywhere, and I'm kind of blown away.
I'm so overwhelmed by Red Dead that
Like the texturing work, just everything coming together.
Just everything, and I'm just like, the frame rate is steady. That's actually the thing that blows me away the most. Is that, like, you know how we were complaining about, or we're talking about LODs and popping in and stuff?
Yeah.
I've never seen any popping in
That's funny.
in Red Dead at all.
I have.
Have you?
Ooh.
I've seriously not seen
There's
it.
a lot of it, man. And what I respect is, like, technically it's incredible, but the way they can, like, stream in content, because they're doing it, man. That, like, as you go through an environment, it's like popping in a lower level LOD, a higher level LOD. Trees are just blending in and out, and it's really impressive because you're not just looking at one tree asset. There's probably like 5 versions of that same tree.
Sure.
And depending on where you're standing in the world, you know, it's gonna apply the appropriate tree to replicate that.
Yep.
And so, you know, in Path of Exile, we very much just make one version of a thing, maybe 2.
Yep.
I don't know how you would even do it on like a Rockstar open world game scale. And it's interesting to see.
It's just manpower, right?
I'm not sure because there are tools to deal with this too.
Okay.
But what was interesting was when Call of Duty, the new Black Ops
4, I think.
Yeah, they had like a battle royale mode.
Okay.
But anyway, they then converted this Call of Duty game from like a very closed door, small environments, a lot of detail, to this huge landscape where you got to traverse like across an island and stuff. And of course, to pull that off on a console, you need to employ level of detail models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how
for
two
people
AAA games.
I want to quickly explain what level that's all about, because we might have people who don't know it. That's where you've got multiple versions of the same asset of different quality, so that you can have like very low poly, low texture quality models in the distance that still look fine and doesn't make your console catch on fire, basically.
Yeah. So like Call of Duty uses it for their battle royale gameplay thing, but you watch streams and stuff, and you can see their trees just like flickering out. So you know, a Call of Duty game is a very high budget video game.
It is. However, they've got much tighter turnaround and deadline.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also, this battle royale thing was kind of coming in thick and fast recently.
Yeah.
So you know that this is what they could pull off in less than a year, and it kind of shows.
Interesting.
And then you compare it to a Red Dead Redemption 2, which is really impressive, because they're doing it for everything. Like, static models are one thing, but as soon as you get an animated thing, like you know, characters are wearing trench coats. They're sitting on a stagecoach typically. It will have to like load in another LOD posed that way too. So also, the animations aren't even the same. The skeletons aren't the same. They're actually like lodding a skeleton system too.
Right. So there's a human with like, I don't know, several hundred bones potentially, versus a human with maybe a couple dozen from far in the distance. And
for every character, for every animal.
Yeah.
You know, with a whole bunch of animations and stuff.
Do you reckon they must have like a programmatic way or a systemic way of handling all of that for the volume of assets they have? Although they do have like 1,000, 3,000 something people working at Rockstar.
I heard 1,000.
Maybe, yeah,
like 500.
probably.
I heard, but on like the credits was 3,000 on Red Dead.
That's ridiculous.
Including voice actors and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like not that many voice actors, surely.
That's huge, man. Like I heard another stat where Rockstar New York is the largest like talent employer in New York City. So it's huge. It is big.
Okay.
So there are a lot of voice
Yeah,
actors. NPCs are also like scanned too. Yeah, it's very impressive, like to the numbers. So when I look at their assets, it's really impressive. I wonder. Do you know why I was like blown away with that bird on the moose?
Why?
I want to ask you guys.
Why?
You're an artist. Do you know?
No. Why?
It's like one animated object with another animated object that can pathfind to that thing and be on it, but also be on its back.
Yeah.
Like the volume's not even there. You know, you kind of like,
yeah.
But surely that's
It pathfinded its way to a surface that it can land on,
Yeah.
and that surface was an animated object.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, for our game, okay, so the way we do arrows, like, being impaled is,
Yep.
like, it'll find the nearest joint and then be parented to that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, kinda, because of the volume difference. Like, it's actually sitting on top of this thing.
Yeah.
And those animals are different scales. Like, that
Yeah, but
thickness
you
of the
can
animal is
have.
different.
I mean, that can all be handled by displacing, and also
For every animal, you kind of...
well,
tweak the value?
this is the real question: is like how dynamic is that system, right? So you've got there's a screenshot of a bird on a moose, but is that bird on a moose a dynamic result of something, or is it just like we've got this special case where we want people to see a bird on a moose, so we just handle that, and we say, yeah, sometimes you'll find a bird on a moose. Like I don't. For example, would you be able to find a bird in the environment somewhere, know that there's a moose nearby, chase that bird onto that moose? Or is it a case of like you stumble across the bird moose scenario, and
I
then,
see.
and that's just one of the scenarios they have.
I'm not sure. Have you seen interesting animal behavior?
I haven't. Not.
Not
Not really. I watched. Yeah, not really. I watched like a wolf. Or no, what was it? A coyote. And I saw it through the binoculars getting close to a pig, and I was like, "Oh, there's gonna be a fight."
Yep.
And then just sort of like the pig just ran.
This
and-
morning, I was just going through the grizzlies or whatever, some forest, dense forest, and I heard a bear, but my horse was startled like before I
Oh,
even
yeah,
saw this thing.
yeah.
Heard the thing, and just tried to get out of there without like running into a tree.
Mhm.
Started running out, and we were kind of close to a road,
Yep.
and I was looking at the grizzly bear, and it's like 3 stars. Like,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
could
That's a
like
good
a
one.
really pristine quality bear.
That's a
And
3-star bear.
So I was like, yeah, I could probably kill this thing. And then I heard gunfire, and some arsehole, some bystander,
Oh
was
shit!
shooting at this thing with a pistol. I was like, God damn it. And so the bear started chasing him, like, down the road.
Interesting.
And I was just like
That's
he just
cool.
ruined my perfect pelt.
Yeah. You just
Okay, so
putting holes in that perfect pelt.
the way you kill a bear actually impacts the quality of
Yeah.
it. Interesting.
Oh yeah, the way you kill all the animals like affects the quality.
Yeah.
Right.
And you learn that like almost one of the first things you learn, right? It's
Yeah.
Like, you're going to use specific weapons for specific animals to get like the best quality like
Interesting.
pelts and
That's
and
quite cool.
stuff. Yeah.
Um,
I fed
I-
I fed people to alligators. Actually, that might have been the most interesting thing because I saw
You
them.
hog tie them?
What's that?
Do you hog tie?
Oh no, they were already dead.
Okay.
I'd gone up to some area and there was like some people just killing people that were like tied up like execution style.
Yeah.
So I went in there, killed everyone. Everyone was like already dead, and I was like, "Oh, this was near a road." And the thing is, if people pass by and they see you standing amongst a whole bunch of bodies, they're just gonna assume that you're the bad guy in all this, even though you've just killed a whole bunch of bad guys.
Yep.
So I was like, I got to get rid of these bodies, and there was like there's like a swamp just there, and I thought, oh, I'll chuck these guys in the swamp, and then as I like chuck the first one in there, I was like, all right, cool, go get the next one, chuck the next one in there. As I'm bringing the next one, this alligator just comes up and chomps, like just drags the first one under, and I was like, holy shit! And it actually made me like jump back. I was like, whoa.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I went. I was around that area, the swampy area,
Yeah.
and I saw that there was like a lot of fish just jumping around. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my goodness, I've got some dynamite on me. Threw on a stick of dynamite, and it was awesome because like all the fish blew up. But the quality just, the
Yeah.
quality of the fish is just ruined at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
And I was like, I could probably go in there and just pick up some of these dead fish.
Fish chunks.
Yeah, I went in. I went in there, and there was a freaking alligator that
Oh,
just like came after me.
Oh,
yeah, so I
man.
was like hightailing it out of there.
The dynamite didn't scare the alligator away. I would have thought.
I don't know. Yeah,
Um,
it made it through somehow.
I saw a video. There's actually quite an interesting video. I didn't finish watching it because it was like I don't know. It was very long, but it was a comparison of interactions and details between Red Dead Redemption and Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
Of course, you're gonna watch this.
Yeah.
well, like I watched part of it,
Okay.
and obviously Red Dead is just gorgeous looking, and but they were just sort of showing some of the comparisons between like how, so they here, I'll give you an example. Fish in Zelda Breath of the Wild, if you chase them towards land, they'll hop onto land and flop around because they get cornered. Like they don't really have anywhere where to go. They don't want to be attacked by you. But and then they showed it in Red Dead, and you chase a fish, and it just gets like stuck in the rock.
Oh, that's funny.
And then you just shoot the fish, and it floats to the surface and vanishes.
Yep.
I have seen fish in Red Dead just flopping up on shore, and I just walk along and pick them up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I've just been like shooting arrows into them, and I'll pick them up.
Yeah, there was one where like I was just walking along the beach, and I was like, "What's that thing over there flopping around?" And I was like, "It's a big ass fish."
How did it get up there?
I don't know.
Interesting.
It was a gross, muddy beach, so it made me think like, "Oh, maybe there's something wrong with this fish."
Have you seen snakes like going through water?
Yeah.
as well?
In water. Yeah. Man,
cool.
snakes. Snakes scare your horse.
Yeah.
But they don't show up when you're not on. Like that, I guess they're in the environment, but they don't show up like very easily.
Yeah, they camouflage, man.
Yeah, like because on your horse they'll show up as a red dot, but then when you're not on your horse, they don't seem to bother you.
Yeah, I think it's because Arthur Morgan's such a badass.
Yeah,
he's
just
not afraid of
he
snakes.
doesn't care about snakes.
What's been your favorite part of Red Dead?
Dude, I've liked just going around doing random open world stuff that's not even part of any like mission.
Have you had a particular encounter that's stuck in your mind?
You were robbing trains, man.
Dude, I picked out the best train robbing spot. It's so good, and I need to go back and do more train robbings there because it's like so. The thing is, like, you got to find a spot that is far away from from a stop.
You don't
right?
got to.
What's that?
You don't have to.
Well, you don't have to, but you want to, right? Because then, like, the law is like further away.
Yeah.
And like, I found a spot that the train goes through a tunnel, and so I would wait on top of the exit of the tunnel for the train to go by, and then I just jump straight into like the the engine section, and just like kick the dude off, and then stop the train, and then go through, shoot whoever I need to, because there's guards on the train, and then just rob everyone on the train, and that's definitely the smoothest train robbery I've ever had. Like I tried to do it once before, where like I jump on the train as it's like, you ride your horse alongside of it, you jump on there, and it's a massive like ordeal because you got to walk all the way, you got to fight your way to the engine and then stop it. But this was just like just get straight to the engine, stop it,
and then work your way back.
And then work my way back. And it was great, and I didn't have any law coming after me. Like it was awesome.
How varied are those train robberies?
I've done two. I've done two train robberies, and the thing is, there's different types of like trains. I mean, just like in real life, there's ones that are all cargo, ones that are like passengers, and ones that are like mixed and stuff like that. And sometimes they have like safes on that have a lot of money. But the first one I tried that was like a real botched attempt was like it was just a cargo one, so it had no passengers on, and passengers are where you get all the good stuff because they're giving you watches and money and whatever. And so I basically killed every single person on this like cargo train because it had no passengers. It just had guards.
Yep.
I just basically killed every single person. The law was, I was right near a town. It was basically just outside of a station. The law was like straight on me. So I was like, I'm just gonna hijack this like train. So I just ran to the
They'll never find me now.
Yeah,
There's no way they can track me.
There's no way
the
to track me. I just outran the law on a train. And then like got out to a point where like the law had like was too far away and it stopped.
Where did he go? Oh gosh.
And I just stopped the train in the middle of nowhere and was just like trying to go through this train to see if I could find anything of any like decent value. Didn't find anything. Like it was definitely absolutely not worth it. I had a massive bounty because of it, and I just had a train that I'm like, great, I've stolen a train and I got nothing to do with it.
You had a bounty.
Yeah.
So explain to me that, because you've killed everyone.
Yeah.
You've killed all your witnesses.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
No?
No,
Okay.
no, because the law will come after you. Like if the law comes after you, you've got to kill all the law for I think for you to get rid of. Is that how it works?
I think as soon as they know you've done it, you've got a bounty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they're coming after you.
But how did they know you've done it?
Well,
witnesses?
Yeah, witnesses.
But who were the witnesses?
People on the train.
But you killed them all.
They're also like
Yeah, but
passerbys too.
Yeah, they'd already like alerted. That's the thing. Like
I understand that, but they don't have any contact to the.
Yeah, I know they don't have cell phones and stuff, but like,
Right.
there is a certain video game aspect of this video game.
You will
this
see
is-
people like run back to the town and stuff to tell on you.
So if that's the case, that's
You
cool.
can
and
stop
it's
them.
fine.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
stop them.
You can threaten them. And stuff.
Yeah, but there is a point where like if people get too far away, like the law will just start investigating.
Sure.
You know,
Okay.
and
so,
that's what happened. Like people were running off,
right.
and I couldn't stop them, and then the law would just start investigating, and then once the law is on you, like your bounty will just go up unless you can like get out of the zone that the law is like investigating in, and that was when I was like, I'm just gonna like hijack this train and leave the area.
Right. Because that was the crux of my question. Is
Yeah.
like, is there a way for if you were really good at robbing trains, for example, could
Yeah.
you get in there, eliminate any possible witnesses, and you would have
Well,
no...
that's what I did the second time.
Right.
That was part of the reason why I picked a spot far away from any sort of
towns and
settlements.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and so it like I robbed everyone. All the guards were dead.
Mhm.
So I had like no witnesses.
Right.
And the law were not after me. I was just like hanging out on this train with all
Get
these
away
people.
scot-free.
Yeah, and I just got away scot-free.
Nice.
But then the thing is, like, as I was leaving, I got a certain distance away, and then it said that the law were investigating this crime. So it seems like
Someone on the train.
someone on the train, once I
eventually.
left, once I'd left, they'd gone and, like, told the law, whoever was closest.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how they handle that bounty system. Where
Yeah,
like
that
if you
sounds cool.
commit a crime in an area, then that area is sort of hot, and you probably shouldn't go back there. But then if it's just like a thing that's happened and enough times pass, the bounty applies to just that state or that area. And so whenever you go back, bounty hunters know about you, and you may be hunted by bounty hunters.
Yeah, that's yeah,
'Cause that's
the
messed
thing,
me up
'cause
a
it's
whole
the
bunch.
bounty hunters that come after you.
Yeah.
How
Like
do you
after a
drop
while,
a bounty?
you got to pay it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just pay it off at the post office.
The train station.
Yeah.
Hey, so like I murdered like a dozen people on
Yeah.
a train, and I think I've got a bounty on me. Okay, let me just have a quick look. Yep. How much is that gonna be? That's about $15. Okay, here you go.
That's pretty
Okay,
much
and
how it
you're
goes.
good.
that is how it
That's
is.
exactly
off,
how it goes.
off you go.
The dude's just like, oh, yep, starting a clean slate. Here you go.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Oh, I think one of the people I killed was your mom. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
But
it.
then, like, I've heard people getting. The highest bounty I've had is maybe like $85. But I've heard people having like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, which is just like a ridiculous amount to pay off.
Yep.
Like it's easy to pay off 80, but if you've got like a $500 bounty, like that's a lot of work, and that really makes you not want to go into that region for a while.
Yeah. Tell you what I'd like to see in a Red Dead game or a game or a Rockstar game going forward is the ability to kind of just ask other members to go out and like commit train robberies
Oh,
together.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing. Just being like a quest giver and just
Yeah.
hanging out with another dude or just going
Yeah,
hunting together.
That would be cool because the side missions they're always asking you to go out
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
It
I'd
would
like to be
cool if
that
you
guy
could be
because
like, yeah,
yeah, I'll go onto the open plains, but I'm just taking like a couple carcasses back, to camp.
yeah.
I would like to like take some of the other more proficient guys out with me.
Yeah. I remember I stole a wagon once and was like, oh, I could like load this up with like carcasses or something.
Yeah.
But you can't dump a carcass in a wagon. Like
Yep.
it just doesn't let you do it.
Yep.
And I was real bummed out because
You
I
need
was,
some kind of trailer.
yeah, I
you
was-
got to invent a trailer.
yeah, it was such a bummer because I was like, yes, I
Interesting.
can get into camp and we'll have like 5 like like massive carcasses.
Yep.
No way to refrigerate them. You gotta,
No.
you gotta eat them all that night. But man, I thought like, yeah, this would be great. And then I start trying to dump one onto this cart, and it just dumps it in front of the cart. And
Yeah.
I'm like, can't.
Can you cause animals to go extinct?
Geez, I do not.
Because I
think
feel like
you can.
I heard that or read that somewhere.
About the bison,
No?
I heard something kind of like that, where you can hunt out bison.
Yeah,
Like, there
'cause
are a limited number.
I
of
would
bison.
I would love to see some, like maybe a couple years from now, some obsessive gamer who has just made every creature extinct.
Wow.
And I want to
There are
see
a
how
lot
the
of
game
critters,
handles
man.
that.
There's a lot of
Mm.
critters, like
Yeah.
birds. I haven't hunted many birds.
I
Or-
ran
or
over
seen
a
too many.
bird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a real little bird. Like I was just
Oh,
going
it sounds
along.
like Auckland.
And yeah, I was just going along, and sometimes you hit like little things on your horse.
Yeah.
And I hit something. I was like, "What the hell was that?" I didn't even see anything. I looked
Yep.
down, and it was like the tiniest little sparrow. I
Aw.
was just like, "Oh, I've just got a sparrow now."
Should pocket it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do that. I've been picking up basically roadkill. Like every time my horse goes over stuff.
Can't let it go to waste.
Yeah, yeah.
Your
Dude,
characters
and
are real gross.
Actually, this is kind of an interesting thing as well. Is that he'll when you go to camp, there's sometimes these
Oh my goodness, Saveun.
there's sometimes these times where like you talk to some of the people at the camp about what you've been doing,
Yeah.
and that you feel sort of bad about it. And like he was talking to this woman, and he's like, I've just been killing animals, and I don't even know why. I don't even have a reason. I'm just so angry all the time. And I was
Wow.
like thinking, when have I been killing animals for like nothing? And then I realized it's all these like roadkill things that I've been like, because I'll aim for them and stuff.
Wow. And then
I'll
you
just-
pocket them.
Yeah, and then I pocket them. I'm like, oh, so that must be what he's talking about. Is just like mindlessly killing like little
Wow.
bunnies and squirrels and stuff that I run over.
Saveun, do you have a favorite encounter so far?
Yeah, it's hard to put my finger on one. I just like going around and seeing like the sun do its thing
So there's
in the
nothing-
clouds.
Okay, so you're more about just like the scenery and
Yeah, I
and
just like
the
appreciating-
exploration in the
Sure.
world.
I did have a. I ended up going back to the area you start in, that area,
Oh yeah,
The mountains.
the mountains, yeah. And so I'm just like around there right now, just appreciating scenery, seeing
Just
what's
walking
up.
through the snow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, man, because like that storm's passed,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it's not as snowy.
Oh right, yeah.
And yeah, that place that you kind of hold up in is like an old town that's just abandoned. So you see a church, like there's a tree growing in the corner that's just been abandoned so long ago.
Cool.
So it is kind of cool to go through that.
If you like abandoned buildings,
Mm.
you should play some Zelda.
Oh boy.
Cool.
I think my favorite encounter I had was I was just going into one of the small towns to like sell some like animal pelts that I'd got.
Yep.
And a rival gang, I think 3 people from a rival gang were there, and they were like being assholes, being like, "This is our town. Like, what are you doing around here?" And I get into a fight, and it was just a fist fight.
Yeah.
And there was 3 of them, and I was like, "Shit, I'm getting ganged up on here. I need to draw my gun." So I drew my gun. It started a massive like firefight in the town. The law got involved, and then I'm like, oh, "This is blown out of like this is gone too wild." So I took off. I ran down the hill. The law's chasing me. I'm hiding behind trees, shooting the law and stuff. Run away, and run across a bridge. Get away, and I'm like, "Oh, I made it. I'm out of here." And then I see a guy in front of me that's like, "Oh, help! I need some help! I need some help! Help me!" So I help this guy, and he's like, "Oh, I need to go to the doctor or something." And then it starts
Back
a little.
to the
It
original
starts a
town.
little. No, it doesn't go back to there, but it starts a little like mission where I'm like taking this guy to another town.
Yeah.
I end up in the big city.
Yep.
Drop this guy off at the doctor, but it's just a thing of like, I went into town with one goal, ended up in a completely different town
Yeah.
with now I'm wanted in the town that I wanted to like go into.
Yeah.
It's just this like dominoes effect that I really like in that game.
Does that feel frustrating at all though? Because like now you've got this. Now you, that was,
Is that the email?
Yeah, it's the-
we've said
Sound?
the word of the day, frustrating.
Yeah.
Have you've got this like sort of disincentive
No,
to
it
go back
doesn't-
to that town now though?
Well, I just then had to go and like pay off a fine, and you can pay off your bounty on like any town.
Okay.
So the town I ended up in, I just paid it off.
Seems
for the
real
next one.
weird that you can just like kill whoever and then pay some cash.
Yeah, but it depends like how big your crime is. Like you say, oh, you can just pay some cash, but again, if you've got a massive bounty, that's a huge investment.
Sure.
To
But still, you
pay
can
off.
just. But yeah, but you can still just pay it off.
yeah, I know it is a
Seems
bit
real
weird.
silly.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Have you been arrested? Is that a thing?
no, I don't think you
I
get
have.
arrested.
Yeah.
I've been arrested.
Have you?
Yeah, a couple of times. We talking
Hang
about
on,
real life?
let's take a
Yeah.
little pause. We've got the fun alarm going off here.
What's cool is you don't need to pay a bounty. You can have bounty hunters come after you and just have that full on bloodlust type thing and just murder people.
Yeah, your bounty doesn't go up if you kill bounty hunters, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I'm trying to be like what would you call it?
honorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That thing.
that's not a word you use often, huh, Saveun?
No, not at all. But yeah, you can like I've like just done petty crimes and stuff, like just ran over people with my horse in town,
Oh yeah, that's fun.
and then people are just like, "Dude, I'm telling on you."
Oh,
And so like the sheriffs come after me, and you can just surrender to them,
Mhm.
and then you just go into jail,
Okay.
I've never done that.
which is kind of cool because like the
And then do you-
severity of your bounty determines how that law comes and apprehends you.
Right.
So like if it's just a something small like $10, they'll just walk towards you
Oh yeah.
and like just cuff you or whatever.
Right, right.
But if it's like over $100,
didn't-
they're gonna smash you into the ground.
Yeah, didn't you have a thing where like you had a bounty in the first town, Valentine, and you tried to go in there, and the law just were like, you need to get out of here, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, because you don't pay your
Yeah,
bounties off
yeah.
there.
Man,
Did
they've
you-
always just like come after me like guns blazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the prison system like? Like, so you get arrested. Are you in a jail cell?
Yeah, it's just.
Do you have to
cutscene,
just sit
basically.
there and wait out your sentence?
Yeah, you just watch day night
Yeah,
cycles.
like, what do
out
you
this
do?
Window. It's a cutscene basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you just walk out. You've got less money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the only other game I can really think of that has a prison system is the Elder Scrolls games, and I think the way they do that is you actually are put in a prison cell, and you can, I think you can just wait there until the bounty, or like your time is done. But you can also like try and pick the lock to get out, or like convince a guard,
That's cool.
or and like there's some other stuff you can do. So it's like not just it's an opportunity to do stuff,
Yeah.
which I think is interesting.
I was playing Divinity 2 with some mates a few months back, and one guy got arrested in that and ended up in jail. And so the way we got him out was we were able to just like walk into the castle where they were, and we could talk to people.
Yeah.
So he was unable to pick the lock. So what we did was like, I went and talked to one guy so that their back was faced
Away.
so they were facing away.
Yeah.
And then our expert lockpick came and
Nice.
picked the lock and got him out,
Nice.
and they walked up the stairs and like got their gear and like left
Yeah.
while I was engaging this guy in a conversation.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Damn, that's really cool.
All right, we're pretty much out of time, but let's answer a question. It's been a while, right? We'll try and do two. Hey guys, I found your podcast the other day through a Kotaku article on Jonathan's Diablo comments in episode 92, and I just wanted to let you guys know how much I love the show. There's such a great, genuine dynamic between you guys that really hooked me into feeling like I was getting to know you guys. Well, thanks, Jay. And with everyone's comments about the game, of course I had to jump into Path of Exile for the first time since its release. I started fresh. I had a guide up and stayed up until 4 a.m. listening to past episodes, blasting through an amazing game. Sincerely, a new huge fan. P.S. I'm sorry I hadn't been paying attention to the story or voice acting. I'm too interested in the mechanics and getting to the end game. Yeah, well, that sounds about right.
All that work you're just talking about.
Yeah, well, it's thanks, Jay. That's nice to hear, sort of. No, it is. For Betrayal, it should be interesting because there is a fair bit of dialogue that you'll be able to skip through, but there's also like a lot of it just happens naturally and dynamically based on situation. So I'm
Yep.
very interested to see how that will play out. But that's cool. Here's another one from Kaiser499. Why does no one talk about Rockstar's announced game Agent that was announced in 2009? They never showed anything but a logo for it, and it's been in development forever. Well,
Sav.
Yeah, sure. We kind of talked about this a little bit
before the podcast.
for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they've abandoned it.
Yeah, they probably just dropped it.
What was funny was what was happening at the time was everyone was gearing up for this PlayStation 3 launch, and the PlayStation 3 at the time was going to be this thing that would revolutionize the video game industry. It was this powerhouse console.
What was
You
it,
know,
like the cell processor or
Yeah.
something that was
Oh,
like...
and they were
yes.
really talking it up. And Agent
Yeah.
was going to be the Rockstar game that would launch on this PlayStation 3 console. But then people started to realize very quickly that the PlayStation 3 wasn't going to be that console that Sony said it would be. And yeah, I think it just faded away like many other games that would have seen trailers for that E3 they announced it. Like Getaway was, they had an awesome cinematic. They never lived up to make a Getaway game. A lot of games that were hyped up and made trailers then faded away when developers just couldn't pivot and develop for the cell processor.
Right.
Very few developers actually got through that.
Yeah. So here's a question. Red Dead's out now. Red Dead Online is going to come at some point.
Yeah, dude, I think there's probably a trailer coming out.
Do you know any? Do you have what's the word on
the street?
Yeah, what's the word on the street, man?
I know
you
nothing
got your ear
about
to the ground. We know what's.
I suspect there's going to be a trailer. It was meant to come out in November. It's pretty late November.
They say like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after.
I'm not sure. They said November, and I haven't heard anything. There have not been any trailers, and I suspect there's something soon.
Yeah,
that's really all I've got.
So but it'll come out probably, and we're assuming until we hear otherwise. And
are we going to form a gang, a Grinding Gears
posse?
gang? Yeah, posse.
the Grinding Gears gang.
Grinding Gears gang.
I like it. And I think they've talked that their next game is going to be Bully.
No, that was me just speculating.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
I might be okay. Sure.
I thought
that seems like totally reasonable.
Maybe that was just you. Like I thought that was news.
Because we talked about someone saying that like we predicted Red Dead.
Oh, this was just rumor, man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, man. Nothing that I say is like.
We know that nothing you say is true. I mean, everyone.
With a grain of salt, people.
Yeah.
Bully would be an interesting game for them to do next.
I agree. I actually think you're probably on the money on that one. So my
it's
question
not just me. Shit.
Well, I think whoever it is, I think that is a valid speculation.
Well, you know how you were saying that there were cactuses in GTA and then Red Dead. Well, there's kids in
my goodness.
in Red Dead.
Red Dead. So it makes so much sense.
Yeah, they're testing out their kid tech for Bully.
I mean, Bully is also one of the. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bully is one of the few Rockstar games where like dialogue and social interaction was like a core gameplay feature.
Yeah.
Right. And
I've never played it, but yeah, that's
wasn't
what
Bully
I've heard,
just escalate everything?
But
you're a bully.
Yeah, you're a bully. Of course, you're gonna escalate and antagonize everyone.
But they've clearly they're trying to do a little bit of tinkering there. So I think it's reasonable to think that that's sort of what they're going to do for the next title. So I think that Bully is a good guess on that front. My question is, what's after that? Is it GTA 7? That would be my guess.
6, man. It's got to be 6.
Oh yeah.
No, they're going straight to 7.
Getting us straight to 7.
Whoa.
Why did I think they were up to?
It's been so long since 5 came out. That would be cool.
I think we're out of time.
I'd love to see their take on a fantasy game.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we would see anything.
Do you ever think that when you're going through Red Dead and you're just like, what if there was like a dragon?
Just
here.
Yeah, but then
on PC, they're gonna
be...
mod dragons in so fast. Yeah. And then they're gonna have Thomas the Tank Engine dragons like a week later. Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
A Rockstar dragon.
A Rockstar dragon.
I'm not sure. They've got robots, man.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
why do you say that like that's similar to a dragon?
Well, like an
not
imaginary
similar to a dragon.
A thing that's not like.
Oh, they don't have dragons, but they've got robots. What are you talking about?
They've just got. They do have some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you can Google this kind of shit.
Yeah.
They don't have fishing, but they've got pizza. What? Like what?
I've heard they've got Bigfoot in Red Dead. I heard Bigfoot's creeping around.
There was in the first one.
Was there?
I can say that.
Oh man, I'm gonna find them.
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's wrap this up. We'll be back in are we going to be back in a couple weeks? We've got the
I'm not sure.
Launch of Betrayal coming up.
Yeah, and we've got our Christmas D&D special in the works.
Yeah.
We're going to have me, Rory, Bex, and George.
Should be interesting.
Cool. Yep.
So that'll be cool. And that'll be 3 weeks ish, 4 weeks, sometime from now. But
yeah.
we're not 100% sure if we'll be back in a couple weeks, just based on what's happening with Betrayal. And I'll be in LA. Until right around that time. But if you want to contact us, you can totally do that. frontseatquestions@gmail.com is our email address. We read that fairly regularly, and we reply. At frontseatcast is our Twitter, so tweet at us. We love hearing from you. You can also contact us on Facebook at facebook.com/frontseatcast. Frontseatgamers.wordpress.com is our WordPress site. We've got a YouTube page. We've got like 300 subscribers from our last episode, which is dope.
Yeah,
if you're one of those and you're listening right now, cool beans.
Welcome.
Yeah. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of us.
Specifically, what you think
are we
of Nick.
handsome? Yeah. Just what do you think of our what us? Blake's been growing out a mustache for November.
Yeah, I haven't talked about that.
Yeah, do you want to pimp that out?
I'll put a photo on the Facebook. I'll
put a link on. Yeah,
link on the Facebook.
If you want to donate to that, you totally should.
There's been some people at work who have been like guests on the podcast and joining in as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to see their faces as well,
yeah,
I'll put up a link.
Rate us on iTunes and tell your friends about us. We got a bunch of new subs on YouTube from last episode. That's super cool. And we love getting new people. Love it. Saveun, do you still Twitch?
A little bit.
So you can.
I haven't in the last couple weeks though.
Right.
I had to get some stuff, but I should be in the next couple weeks.
Cool. Well,
I've been busy with this Red Dead game.
Yeah, I've heard that's good.
You were twitching some like actual 3D work, right?
Yeah.
How was
that? Was cool.
How was that? What were the comments like?
It was cool because I was doing the most boring thing, like re-topologizing a character.
Oh yeah.
And people like hanging out.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That's awesome.
So you can catch some of that potentially if Saveun's working on something like that.
Yeah, I should be able to like stream some Red Dead too.
You can watch Saveun Twitch.
Oh man, stream some Red Dead too. That'll be cool. Yeah.
Or just get in contact with us. We love hearing from you. We'll be back at some point. And we'll see you then. Love you. Bye.
Oh shit! Have you heard about Fallout 76? Have you been following this shit?
Oh, I've seen what.
Have you seen
what
headlines?
A piece of shit it is.
Okay, cool.
I haven't been following it at all.
I've just seen headlines.
Yeah, only really same.
Yeah,
really headlines.
Yeah, just a proper dumpster fire.
Mm.
I don't think I've described anything as a dumpster fire.
Do you think West Virginia's ready for this? The game, their tourism board.
Yeah, yeah. The tourism's gonna plummet because.
yeah. Dude, there was so much hype, man.
Dude,
Was there?
Yeah.
It seemed like from quite early on, people were like,
I really thought they were. It sounded like they were. I thought they were angling for like that survival arc type game.
Mm.
But I think people are going in there thinking it's like a Fallout game because they're all complaining that.
Well, because it's got a Fallout name.
Yeah,
on it.
I reckon, dude. I reckon they should have called it like Fallout Survival, and then right off the bat they'd be like, "Oh, this is like a survival game."
Yeah.
Not expecting it to be like a Fallout 5 type
Fallout
thing.
Survivors is a cool name.
Yeah.
Like that tells you exactly what you need to know.
Yeah, yeah. But even so, even if they had been named that,
Yeah.
I don't, like it's still so buggy that I don't think.
That's the main thing I've heard.
Yeah,
It's
it's
buggy as
amazingly
hell.
buggy.
It's a Bethesda game, of course.
Dude, I was thinking of their game engine. It
Yeah.
must be like, I feel like, do you remember the
Duct tape.
Steam engine on, do you remember the train scene on Back to the Future 3 where he's like putting the
Let's talk about this.
fuel?
Let's cut. I'm cutting the conversation here. We're going to talk about this on the podcast. All right. All right. Good. Good.
Yeah.
But we're gonna. Yeah.
Mr. Fusion?
Shut up! No. All right. We're starting.
You need to clap. Dude, that was, what a good clap.
And there was no prep for that
and then
one.
You just like, oh yeah,
It's like
boom.
whatever, man.
Wow. Man, they do call you the clap.
I really wish they wouldn't though. Okay. You ready?